Hello everyone. At the night of August 2nd, U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan. Regardless, Chinese government's persistent warning directly challenged China's sovereignty and red line, which became a new turning point in Sino-U.S. relations. On August 3rd, Pelosi left Taiwan for South Korea. The next 3 days, China engaged a large-scale military drill at 6 areas around Taiwan. This military drill was actually a blockade to Taiwan, with its airlines cancelled or route changed. Compared to the last crisis military drills in 1996, this time it is obviously escalated. And the issue is, would the military exercise like this be a future routine, or China's fighters and warships will cross the median line often? Pelosi's visit to Taiwan achieved nothing great, yet with too much contact and insult to the mainland. But if China takes it as a good pretext for speeding up its reunification with Taiwan, then it came to be a blessing in disguise. Since then, tremendous changes would occur at Taiwan Strait, for Taiwan will lose its strait media line, and the sea territory line, and the sea transportation line due to Pelosi's Taiwan tour, and it became a big gift to China. And Taiwan's government rewarded Pelosi with a medal, and Mainland China would suppose is to give Pelosi a bigger one later. Taiwan issue has been long in history. As early as 1624, Holland took Taiwan and ruled there for 38 years. And then retaken back in 1662 by Zheng Chenggong, or Ming Dynasty general. In 1683, the Qing Dynasty Emperor Kangxi conquered Taiwan, and in 1895, after Sino-Japanese War, it was ceded to Japan for 50 years until the end of the Second World War in 1945. In 1949, China's nationalist government was defeated in the Civil War and withdrew to Taiwan, and since then this island and mainland China had been separated until today. In September 1986, they established the Democratic Progressive Party aimed for Taiwan's independence, and then won the election for the first time in 2000. Taiwan's local government still claimed itself as a Republic of China, briefly as China. Yet after long brainwashing, more and more people in Taiwan have regarded themselves only as Taiwanese rather than Chinese. Is it awkward that you hold the passport of the Republic of China and you don't think yourself are Chinese? For your passport is not the Republic of Taiwan, and no one in the world actually recognizes that name. About Taiwan's position and identification, for mainland China, Taiwan is a treasure island, a territory that is inalienable and related to China's core interests and sovereignty, and a place that China will fight to defend. Even if some secessionists hope to be independent, the 1.4 billion Chinese at the mainland will never agree, which is consensus, and any Chinese government will never give up. The current China might not be so strong or formidable as expected, yet the history of secession and reparations will never happen again. The Taiwan issue is a test stone for China's rise and revival. The reality of separation of the strait is a legacy from China's Civil War, and also as a crucial issue for the time being. China, as one of the 5 UN Security Council members, as well as one of the very few countries in the world that remain divided, and how to deal with it become an issue of global attention. Think it over. China as a world big power. If Taiwan issue is still a hot potato, then people will doubt its capability. And if one day China and Japan will have a military clash or final showdown between China and America, and how to make sure Chinese army will be invincible, And is China ready for a worse scenario? This world believes more in strong power, and a giant in words doesn't help. For the Democratic Progressive Party and some secessionists, Taiwan is a value asset for their bargain. With the island size of 36,000 square kilometers, 23 million citizens, 270,000 troops, and $600 billion GDP. With big companies Foxconn and TSMC, and also versatile farming and fishing products, and a crucial strategic position in the western rim of the Pacific. If Taiwan Strait clashes occur, how long will Taiwan resist? For 3 days, 30 days, or 3 months? Too early to say. To America, Taiwan is a very good chess piece and a playing card to contain or pin down China for the purpose of divide and conquer. For in U.S. national interests, Taiwan issue is a marginal or peripheral, far from being crucial, maybe useful or maybe not. America surely not fight only for the interest of Taiwan. A former British Prime Minister Churchill once said after the Second World War that he liked Germany so much that he hoped to have two Germany, to keep it divided. Divide and conquer is a traditional diplomatic trick in Western powers. For the same, U.S. government, the politicians, the elite in Washington, whether Biden, Pelosi, or other Republican policymakers, all hope to have two China, or one China, one Taiwan, not because they like Taiwan or the people there, neither for support of democracy nor maintaining peace, but for the divide and conquer in their heart. They don't like to see a strong and united China to share or challenge U.S. interests. What America hopes best is keeping the status quo, neither independence nor reunification. So it takes the strategy of ambiguity, never makes it clear whether it will send troops or not. And we can imagine that if China overtakes Taiwan overwhelmingly, then it will be too late for America to meddle in. And if a standoff occurs, then America will certainly provide military assistance to interrupt. Actually, even if America sends troops, it won't help too much. For China and America have engaged before. In Korean War from 1950s to 1953, Chinese volunteer army fought face-to-face with 500,000 UN troops under US leadership, and resulted in armistice and truce. In 1958, in the Kinmen artillery battle, US warships were just spectators. In Vietnam War, China provided assistance to Vietnam, and America didn't cross over the 17 parallel line to the north. The Taiwan issue is China's internal affair rather than the core issue in Sino-US relations. So Americans' involvement is unnecessary or regarded as with ill intention. For Americans only care about the interests of America rather than those of China or Taiwan. Meanwhile, lots of US domestic issues messed up, which demonstrate the US incapability, are not qualified to solve the problems in other areas of the world. The lesson from Afghanistan and Iraq, the chaos in Middle East, and the tragedy in Ukraine, with millions of people now homeless, thousands of soldiers and civilians died of war, the $100 billion deaths due to the crisis that also lingered with the shadows of US interference. Taiwan should avoid to be the next Ukraine. To some onlookers of the world, Taiwan issue seems as a weak point, a barrier, or laughing stock to China. It is vitally important for Taiwan's final reunification with mainland, whether in peace or by force. It would be a historical accomplishment for China if it can be done right now, and it is achieved by China's power and wisdom. If not, to prepare for it in the future. Since 1949 and the overtaking of the mainland, 73 years passed. Initially, mainland China's Air Force and the Navy lagged behind, and far from being enough. And today, 3 carriers came into being, and with large groups of Su certified and Gen 20, military advantages are overwhelming. Nevertheless, armed force is the last resort, and the best strategy is to win without war. In China's history, a criteria for good governance was the military officers dare not death, or civilian officials do not love money. It is the same today. People that look forward to less and less corruption in the army, and more heroes like Qi Fabao and Chen Hongjun. Here comes Pelosi, and also farewell. Military drills began and then finished. And what's the next step? Possibly another unwelcome visitor to Taiwan again. What should we do? Just do some changes, for if you come, I will go beyond. Next, the military operation should consider to take over some other islands from Taiwan, such as Dongsha Island or Taiping Island and Penghu Islands, also called Pescadores Islands, to take it one by one until the end. Besides, if one day in the future the chaos occurs in Taiwan and the clashes between the two groups of anti-secessionists and pro-independence, and even some Taiwan troops that take revolt, asking for mainland's interference and support, China should be ready for it. At the same time, some factors have to be considered, such as reunification deadline, method, and the possible loss, and all the plans and backups. The timeline should cover imminent and recent, midterm, and long-term. The method includes peaceful way or armed force. A peaceful reunification should be based on agreement by both sides, with setting up Taiwan Special Administrative District free from national defense and foreign affairs, maintaining all the rest governmental management and the former way of life. If taken by force, a basic process is supposed to be: first, the missile attack on a high-value target, including Presidential Palace, Department of Defense, radar base and operation center, and missile base, an airport and harbor, coastline defense fortification, an ammunition dump, power plant, communication station, TV and radio station. Second, landing from the sea and by paratroopers, control the strategic areas and transportation cross for the advantage in the battle. Third, and follow up troops and take control of the whole island. The possible casualties and loss. The first one is military and civilian casualties and injuries of both sides. Second, a direct and indirect economic loss of both sides. Third, it is international response and actions in war and after war. Here comes Pelosi, and here she left, and all the consequences went to Taiwan. Mainland China had been irritated, and yet a good excuse was given for a military operation. Peace and a peaceful reunification are the best wishes of all the Chinese that are both sides of the Taiwan Strait. The clashes and the taken by force is the last choice. A civil war should be avoided among Chinese, and with minimum loss of people's lives and property. Taking back Taiwan itself is not the final purpose. It is for the mutual development, for maintaining national interests, and for the benefits of all the Chinese people. The above are just some personal views about Taiwan issue. And in the future, some uncertainties and variables are always there, and we should be patient for the historical moment. Here comes the end of this session. Thank you very much, and see you next time.